This virus, it has no eyes, and yet it knows exactly how we see each other and how we treat each other. And let's be clear, there is no vaccine for racism. We've got to do the work. For George Floyd, for Breonna Taylor, for the lives of too many others to name, for our children.
That was Kamala Harris last night giving her first speech as the Democratic vice presidential nominee, addressing racial tensions that flared after the George Floyd protests and more.
Harris also said she and Joe Biden share a vision of the nation as a beloved community, while saying Trump is tearing America apart. Former co-chair of the Sanders campaign and host of the Hello Somebody podcast and great friend of this show, Nina Turner, joins us now to weigh in on the DNC in general and specifically Kamala Harris's remarks there. Great to see you, Nina, as always.
Good to see you, Nina.
Good to be here.
Before we zoom in on Senator Harris, I just want to get your reaction overall to the DNC, to the selection of speakers, to the topics that they've chosen to focus on, and how you feel that it's going.
I mean, thematically, they hit what the base of the party want to hear. They talk about guns and climate change. It was really good to see Congresswoman Gifford, lifting her voice. We know that she has been such a staunch champion for gun reform in our country. So the convention is doing exactly what it is designed to do. It is a cheerleading fest. We're going to see the same thing happen with the Republicans. And so we just need the American people to understand what they're seeing and what they're hearing. But beyond that, really, this moment is about who is going to have the deep vision that provides provision for the people. And that is what I am looking for. That is what people that I talk to on a regular basis, especially the progressive wing of the Democratic Party, is really looking for. And then those people who want nothing to do with either party because they see them both as failures and as tools of the corporatists, they want to know, in the words of Janet Jackson, what have you done for me lately? What are you going to do for me? And that is vitally important. But as DNC conventions go, and especially in the midst of COVID, hey, they're pulling off a good virtual upset here.
So, Nina, give us your reaction specifically to Kamala Harris's speech. One of the things that Crystal and I, we have observed, not just about her speech, but overall, is, as you said, there does not seem to be an overarching message that would resonate with anybody who is younger, progressive, from the Bernie Sanders wing, or from the venerated demographic of people who hate everybody and both parties. So what did you make of that speech?
That is so true. I mean, what is really missing from this convention, and, salute the history. Absolutely no doubt that Senator Harris is making history and building on the history of other Black women that have gone before her. In this particular moment, this is an and. There is an absolute need for one of these two parties to decide whose side that they really are on. And so, yes, the disaffected voters, the millennials and the Zs who really want receipts, who really want to know whose side you're standing on, it is missing the mark. We all already know how we feel about President Donald J. Trump. It is no doubt that he is a clear and present danger. Bookmark that, got it. Beyond that, though, what is going to motivate people, working class people from all backgrounds who are catching hell? They were catching hell before Trump. They're catching extra hell now with not only President Trump, but the pandemic that's going on. What is the vision? And I have yet to hear the vision that speaks to people who are not a part of the in crowd. That vision that speaks to people who have totally given up. It's just not there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and react a little bit to Senator Harris's selection on the ticket. Because on the one hand, we have certain people who are making the case, she's the most liberal senator that there is. We heard that from some of the Pod Save bros. On the other hand, we see Wall Street in jubilation over her pick to be put on the ticket. How do you square those things?
I mean, there was a headline, right? The headline was very clear. I mean, I'm not quoting it verbatim, but basically they was dancing in the streets. Wall Street has the ticket that they want. Progressives and other people who care about justice and justice for all must come to grips with that. We got to wrap our minds around that. The opportunity for progressives, I do believe, is still there. I mean, look what we were able to do with the election of Cori Bush. other progressives. Every 2 years, the progressive wing of the Democratic Party is those who want to them exit, but they believe in that liberation, must be ready to unify and primary every single Democrat that is not falling in line. Talk about falling in line with the wishes and the needs, not just wishes, the needs of the overwhelming majority of the American people. I mean, I just can't wrap my mind around the fact that we have a pandemic, and in the Democratic platform, something is non-binding. They wouldn't even commit to Medicare for all, no commitment to legalizing cannabis, no commitment to recognizing the humanity of our Palestinian sisters and brothers. And oh my God, in the dark of night, they took out something that would deal with fracking. So the serenity prayer is in order right now. God grant me the strength. That's what's going on right now. It's the serenity prayer. Yeah. But they want, and this is yet a moment. And if in fact they do win the White House, the progressive movement needs to be there day one, like white on rice and black on coal. And that is what is being planned right now by progressives.
Yeah, and not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but, in 2024, do you think it's realistic to imagine that a progressive candidate in the presidential Democratic primary could challenge either if Biden's going to run for a second term, or more likely, I think, if Kamala Harris is trying to step up and take that mantle? Do you think it's realistic to imagine that a movement could be run against them?
I mean, this is what democracy is all about. It's not just really about running against them, Crystal. It is about a different flank that's out there saying we need different, we need better. And if we can't get it from either two of the major parties, then we'll have to do it ourselves. That is what a movement for the People's Party is all about. And by the way, they're having a convention of which yours truly is one of the speakers on August the 30th. And they are going to have that conversation. Now, granted, there are many progressives who believe this is my party and I can cry if I want to, in terms of staying inside the Democratic Party and pushing that party to the left. Those people exist. And then there are those people who have totally said, the hell with it, I'm gone, because of the way progressives are treated in the party. You see that very much on display by the types of speakers that they have speaking. But I digress. Let me go back to a movement for a People's Party. August 30th starts at 4 p.m. People can go to peoplesparty.org. So not only am I speaking, but you got former U.S. Senator Mike Gravel doing the daggone thing. We know how he does it. Dr. Cornel West, Marianne Williamson. We got Chris Smalls. We all remember Chris Smalls and his courage to stand up against the work conditions at Amazon, especially in the face of COVID, and so many others. So there is a bubbling up in this country, whether the two major parties did it or not. That bubbling up is happening. People are taken to the streets. They are organizing. In the words of my dear brother and friend, Killer Mike, Michael Render, a.k.a. Killer Mike, they are plotting, they are planning, they are organizing, they are strategizing, and they plan to capitalize. And that is the kind of movement that we need. This representative democracy is not about the two parties and who leads those two parties. It is truly about the needs of the people, and I am here for it.
All right, Senator Nina Turner, always great to see you, and I know people are going to be really excited to see that lineup. So great to have you.
Thank you.
Great being here. Thank you both.
Next on Rising, it's pretty simple. People need money, health care, and a place to live. We're going to talk about who doesn't understand that when Rising continues.